Hello, welcome to Kapow Toys Presents. I'm your host King Grimlock, and today we're going to be taking a look at Reveal the Shield Grapple, the recolor and remold of the Inferno from the Universe 2.0 line. And this guy does so much more than your Inferno did before. There's enough to it to make him not just a repaint, and that's what I love. This guy is superb. Let's take a look around the figure. I mean, if you own the Inferno, you know it's a very basic but very effective mold. This guy suffers from the same problems. For example, the painted windows when they clearly should be clear plastic, but we know what goes on behind there, so they can't happen. For example, there's a bloody join in there. But the amazing amount of detail sculpted into the side and the work and effort that goes in to making this guy look as lovely as possible is quite something. Obviously, the big change is on this mode anyway, is the replacement of the fire cannon hosey launchery thing with the crane. And the crane does what all good cranes should do. It extends and the hook and it moves up and down. And it rotates on the point as well. As a replacement for your original, or as a rendition of your original G1 Grapple character, you couldn't ask for much more than that. A remold and retooling of the Inferno and repainted into orange as Grapple. Because guess what? That's what happened in the first one as well. If you haven't got the Inferno mold, we'll take another look around it. We do have quite an area of gapping around the top. I'll take you around to the top there, which would have been nice if there had been panels to fill it in. But due to the nature of the toy, you do feel that any infill there would have really added a lot more panels to it, and it would have become a bit too much of a panel former. You can make out the hands in there, which is a shame. But as I say, again, too many more panels and would have problems. On the underside, you can make out some legs, but it is all very tidily done. And in fact, that's kind of what summed up the Inferno mold, and in turn this mold as well, is the fact that he's just nicely done. He's tidy, simplistic in what he does, but you don't want much more than that when it's this size. I mean, he's Voyager class, and if you start making him too complicated, you have problems. I honestly think this guy looks superb. I love the Inferno mold, and I was really keen on getting this guy and seeing what he could do. The colour scheme works brilliantly for the mold. It shouldn't work as well as it does, to be honest, but guess what? It looks great. It looks great in person, and it's well worth having a look at one of these if you are 50-50 on the fence about it, because unless you don't, I mean, realistically, if you've got the Inferno mold and you don't like it, you're not going to like this. If you like the Inferno mold, you're going to love this because it has enough differences to make it worthwhile. To highlight some of the best points for me, things like having the seats in the front, completely unnecessary. You could have had this painted in. You know, you've got windscreen wipers sculpted in. Admittedly, they haven't been picked out in paint. An ongoing qualm of mine with Hasbro, but overall it's just so nicely done. The addition of the crane over the water cannon works really well. A few more paint apps wouldn't have gone amiss, but that's about all I can say. And my biggest bugbear, of course, has actually been done. We have chrome hubcaps, so I can't really complain too much. Anyway, the highlight for me comes with the differences made to his robot mode. And some of those differences are obviously apparent, while others will take some looking at. For example, the obvious difference is he doesn't have the underslung water cannon anymore because he still has that crane. It does look somewhat cumbersome in this mode, but I will show you in a moment that you can hide it fairly well out of the way. I've forgotten to do a little bit of the transformation, so I'm just going to do that now. While we talk, let's just fold that into place, shall we? Fill in that gap in the back of the chest. Other differences are the hands and entire forearm section, except for that panel there that they've used the same. That entire section had been completely resculpted, and instead of being square, it's now rounded. That's the difference. What would have been nice, I mean, I'm not going to badmouth how much work they've put into this because they've done a phenomenal job. What would have been nice, though, is one of the hands may be removable, and we did have the blowtorch attachment for one of the arms. It would have been a nice little touch, but you know what? It's not really missing anything from it. Another obvious one, of course, is the different head sculpt. Different enough to be a different character from an Inferno, but still enough showing that the character is still there, that he has borrowed from him, much in terms of the original toy as well. The United version will have an orange head, which more is accurate to his depiction, I think, in the cartoon over the comic, whereas this is the comic over the cartoon. It's only a minor detail, and it's kind of up to you which one you follow and which one you want to get. This guy, of course, will, for most people, be a lot more readily available, and in turn, a lot cheaper. Another difference in detailing is they've actually changed the feet. They've resculpted the feet and added, I believe, slightly added a new joint in there, meaning that you can get him to stand a little bit more firmly on the floor, and he is very firm. His articulation as well hasn't been added to, but is still as superb as it was before, with full rotation on a ratchet in the arm, up and down, rotation at the hip, blah, blah, blah. Nothing in the wrist though, which is a real shame. Would have been nice with those lovely new hands if you could have actually done something with them. Hips are great, knee has got fantastic articulation in there, and as I say, you do have this twist at the foot, meaning that you can get him into not many great poses because he is just so damn large, but it does mean that you don't have to have him stood there kind of a little bit bored. His head is also on a swivel, and or on a ball joint, sorry, and because of the way he is on that, you can get him to do a little bit more looking up. So let's take a look around the side of him. Now let's get this out of the way straight away. Okay, let's show you what we can do here. Now these shoulder panels can rotate round to the side, and doing so, I'll show you what I mean to start with anyway. If you rotate this up and out the way, he's a little more compact, but it does mean that this crashes onto the side of it. So we flip those round the side, like so, and we do lose some of the detailing on the shoulder, which is disappointing, but it does mean you can get that crane up and out of the way, which is really nice to be able to do that, to be able to move him. I mean, you do end up with this black panel here, and it would be nice if maybe someone, I don't know, came up with an attachment where you could take that off easily and clip it onto the back so it was more like the original G1 character, but it works really nicely in this way as well, and adds another dimension to make him different from the Inferno mould. So as we take him round by his head, we can go round to the back and see there isn't any kibble as such, except for that bloody great crane, man. But of course, same as the Inferno, you did have this entire open back area, which was a little sparse, but because there is no kibble, you end up with sparse areas, so it's kind of the trade-off of the two. But you do have an exceptionally tidy robot who looks the part, who feels like Grappel, is lovely and bulky, and has involved enough transformation, so it isn't simplistic, but simple enough so it's enjoyable and you can flick it between modes without having the problem of trying to worry about which panel clips into where at what time. War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, I'm looking at you. Anyway, I've been King Grimlock. This has been Reveal the Shield Grapple. Get one. I can't say much more than that. And we will see you next time.